At Direct Service Overhead, we know how much trust you put in the individuals who have the privilege of working on the components of your home. We understand that a broken garage door is the last thing you want to be worried about, and most of the time, doors break at the most inconvenient times. Our professionally trained technicians service 24 hours a day, and our high-cycle parts are guaranteed to make a noticeable impact on your garage door without putting a damper on your wallet. If you're looking for need of assistance maintaining your current garage door, our team has the experience and expertise to deliver the results you deserve. Give Direct Service Overhead a call today or visit us online to learn more.
All right. Let's do this. Was this overhyped? Was all this overhyped? Was it just enough? Are fans maybe not understanding the potential huge news here? I don't know. Let's discuss. We've also got Arkansas at Ole Miss tonight, and maybe a little bit of this and that. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Yo! How are you guys doing? I hope you're doing great. I'm Ty Hudson, owner, sole operator of the Picture Network YouTube channel. Welcome to the show, which I have yet to really properly name. It's either the semi-daily show or it's the 3 times a week show / post-game show. I don't know, but here we are. All right. Okay. First, let's get the shout outs. Let's get those out there, right? Of course, Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company, who if there's a garage door in the state of Arkansas that needs to be worked on or replaced, these are the guys to call. Travis Ford, who hopped in our Discord live last night and kind of gave us the 411 on what some of this might be today. So shout out to him. And there were a couple other people who kind of filled us in on some of what this could be. You guys missed a good Discord live. I mean, I feel like now we didn't know about the JB Hunt, and we didn't know about that side of stuff, but we had a pretty good grasp that this was going to be revolving around a big pot of money local businesses can kind of throw into. Again, we're just now kind of getting this morning. We're all kind of reacting and trying to understand this together. But Travis with Direct Service Overhead, Mr. Ford, he kind of gave us some info, so shout out to him. Of course, if you guys need to replace or repair your garage door, give them a call. That's Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. Their link is provided for you down below in the description box. Yeah, so all right, hang on. Let me read first. Let me read what you guys are saying. By the way, take a good hard look. How do you like our mascot here for the Rebels? It's a trap. I love that. I loved it. I was trying to look for the someone made a graphic of the Rebel, the bear, and the shark all as one character. I was looking for that and I couldn't find it, so I had to settle for Admiral Akbar here. But I think he works out just fine on the red banner. Okay. There's so much to digest here. Again, share the content, please, if you guys would. Make sure you're liking the stream. All that helps. Again, shout out to Patreon supporters. Anyone know how I can watch the game tonight without cable? I mean, if you know someone who can loan you their ESPN Plus subscription, sign in on your phone. You can watch it that way, or YouTube TV. Any streaming on your phone, you should. Just about everybody has the ability to watch it on your phone, on mobile. I think I've had enough chicken talk for the day, says Jumpmaster Scott. like the video. Yeah, please. Thank you, Timber Johnson. Smash the like button. All the above. Absolutely overhyped. ESPN, pick it up yet? Question mark. So I don't even know where to begin with it because, like John Neighbors said on Twitter, who, by the way, bounced out of our Discord. He was in our Discord for a while, and then I noticed yesterday I was looking him up because I was going to tag him. Like, see, I told you, not only is Ty Richardson in our Discord, but so is John Neighbors. He wasn't in there, so he bounced. That's fine. We still got Ty Richardson in there. That's what matters. T-Y-E, Richardson, that is, not T-Y, okay? I think the two things can be correct in this, and with what this is. That this is not something that Razorback fans can really well, before let me just pull up what he said. I thought the way John Neighbors put it was actually really spot on. Is the AAC, which is the AAC NIL deal, which is what this is. It's basically, from what I understand it, from what it is, it's a giant money pot for people to put money in. Local businesses, I guess. I don't know if that means anyone with an LLC or an S corp, or a what's the other classification of business? A corporation, I guess. Just a corporation. Is that? I don't know. I'm not an accountant. I don't know all the different, but I have an LLC here. So I'm assuming this is for Arkansas, the big companies, for them or their family members or whoever to throw into this giant pot. Now, and we're going to read all this stuff. Again, we're still trying to digest what the hell all this means, what it is. Is the AAC NIL deal a great step in the right direction for the U of A? Signing SA to more money. What is SA? Signing SA to more money. What the hell is an SA? So he says yes, it is a step in the right direction. It is hard for fans to really get through the roof excited about it because they want to see results of it first. Yes, both can be true. Basically saying, is what we heard today good information? Is it great for the university? Yeah, but maybe you really did overhype this. I listened to some of that Twitter space while I was trying to figure out what the hell. I ended up just making the most basic thumbnail because I spent too much time on the Ole Miss logo on the banner. Not even going to lie about it. Spent way too much time trying to figure out what I wanted to do there because, hell, they're still called the Rebels, yet they've got like 15 different mascots. But I was trying to listen in on it while I was creating my thumbnail. And, again, they started this thing at 10:45 this morning. I captured some of it, all of it up until like the 10-minute mark. So let's read what this is. So J.D. Notte is the first signee of the new Hunt family-led NIL organization, the AAC, Athlete Advocate Consortium. Am I saying that right? Founded to guide student athletes in the NIL era. Now the print is really small. Where are my glasses? Oh, here we go. I actually remembered them this time. I'm going to have to pull up old man Ty here. Let me see if I can read this. I'm trying to – maybe I should just share my screen. That would probably be a little more helpful. Let's do this. There we go. Here you go. So you can see it. Consortium, right? Am I pronouncing that right? Athlete Advocate Consortium, AAC, founded to guide, blah, blah, blah. Fayetteville, Arkansas, January 26, 2022. For the first time, student athletes across the country have the right to benefit from their own name, image, and likeliness, the NIL. Since the NCAA announced changes to NIL policy in June of last year, there's been a whirlwind of activity with management companies and potential sponsors looking to engage NCAA athletes like Arkansas senior guard J.D. Notte. These changes bring new opportunity as well as changes for student athletes. A new NIL organization looks to meet these challenges for athletes by, in bold letters here, assisting in the development of student athletes to achieve their maximum potential in all aspects of their college experience, with a focus on their personal interactions in their community and civic responsibilities, according to the group's mission statement. The AAC was founded by Brian and Mandy Hunt, son and daughter-in-law of JB and Jonelle Hunt, the entrepreneurs who founded JB Hunt Transportation Services. Since the NIL changes were announced in June of 2021, the couple have been at work to structure an organization that would operate in the best interest of the athletes while making a positive impact in the local community. They say their goal is to connect these future sports and business leaders with opportunities to use their abilities to help others, specifically in areas of community issues that speak to them on a personal level. According to Brian Hunt, while most NIL programs to date focus solely on the monetization of the athlete and the companies engaging them, AAC will strive to create a structure that identifies needs within the community and develops processes and procedures to meet those needs. I really don't want to read all this, but I guess I'll read. NIL policy has given college athletes the option to enter the business world, but with great power comes great responsibility. I love that. See, I didn't read that part earlier. I love that. Said AAC co-founder Brian Hunt. AAC connects these college athletes with a local nonprofit to only give back to a cause that they care about, but to also bring awareness to all the good these organizations are doing to help their communities. I'm not going to read Note's part, but Note did have a response, and I haven't read it. I'll probably read it later. I'm sure it was really good. So we'll read that later. There's a lot to understand here, and it's still a little bit confusing. We talked about, well, I mean, this is just basically a giant money pot for all these businesses to kind of throw into. That Twitter space seems to not only get players in there, but also big time people. Yeah, I've seen some pretty high up U of A athletic department people in those Twitter spaces. We've seen coaches in those spaces. Got to be careful in those Twitter spaces. Anything is better than nothing. It's good. It's a good thing regardless. We'll see how good. What happened to not being an accountant, Ty? I'm not an accountant. Who said I was? What? I don't know what you're talking about. Can't watch a young kid make big dough while you're making a paycheck, but we will see what happens. Oh, SA equals student athletes. Okay, yeah, all right. We don't know what do you mean? What is the deal? We don't know. We don't know. I don't know the money amount. If that's what you're asking, we don't know. I don't think they have to go public with that. Now presenting the Walmart Arkansas Razorbacks. Now hiring for athletic players. Seriously, could Walmart partner with the U of A for the best NIL deal in the country for players? I think members of the family are. I'm sure they would be on the same. I'm sure they could do exactly what JB Hunt is doing. I'm sure they can do the same thing that all these other people that are already, I mean, there's rumors that there's going to be big people in the area that are going to contribute to this. Of course, none of that's verified. That's just people throwing out, it's kind of message board talk. That's not verified. I'm going to say this. I don't have a problem with them hyping this up. I don't have a problem with them. They clearly understood it all. It's important to them. They understand it. They get it. They see the big picture. But to present this as like it's gigantic, world-changing news, it's going to be featured on ESPN, which it kind of was because Ty Richardson was there on the Twitter space. I mean, he wasn't lying from that aspect, right? Might have been a little bit of an oversell. But to expect fans to completely understand what it is that you're talking about and for them to get really excited about this NIL stuff, I'm sorry. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, I still remember when the NCAA announced the NIL was going to be allowed, when name, image, and likeliness was going to be allowed, when players could profit off their NIL. Even that, I mean, yeah, that kind of, it shook the world a little bit, the college football world, without a doubt. It shook the world, the college football world. But this isn't exactly like breaking news in the sense that no one really saw this coming. You know what I mean? I think to be excited about it is correct. And Teeter is right. Josh Teeter, who took to Twitter and said that, let me find it here. Well, and he quoted John. What did John Williams have to say about this? 2 things. Anyone that doesn't comprehend the enormity of the Hunt AAC NIL announcement is just not getting it. Not getting it. Game changer is an understatement. Credit to Hunt and the Hog AD and RF. It's not the last nor biggest domino to fall in this realm. It is big, and I think he's right. It is big news. But I think the way they kind of presented it, like fans, the casual fan, to them, this is like, okay, cool, all right, great. What does that mean now? What does that mean now? And I think for John Williams and for Teeter and for these people who are upset that people don't understand this, or well, I don't know that John is upset about it, but who don't understand why the casual fan, it's because they don't like, okay, cool, all right, awesome, whatever. Fans want, like, big recruiting news. Like, okay, I could see, they announced this deal and they've already got a 5-star who's going to commit, or maybe it comes with a commitments announcement, some 5-star out of, like, out of Texas, out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, who's attached as a part of this deal, and he's going to be one of the first people. That would be huge, right? Or a big-time major quarterback transfer, I don't know, just toss someone out there. Or a big-time, huge former 5-star transfer to come along in with this deal as you're announcing the deal. Now, what also popped their balloon was that Pig Trail Nation, I think it was Pig Trail Nation, leaked. Someone leaked the information. I thought PTN was the first. That PTN, I should say, was the first to kind of pop their bubble. That didn't help matters, right? So again, I think this is big news. Absolutely. But for people to be like, well, if you don't understand, and kind of wag the finger at people, like, look, man, casual football fans could give a shit. Let's just be real. Should they? Yeah, I think they should. They ought to kind of try to see the big picture, but they're not going to. A lot of casual sports fans, just to them, this is just extra fluff, right? I think people who follow recruiting and are involved on these boards, on these pay boards, and some of the people in our Discord, in the Picture Discord, they get it. Will, who, by the way, I believe is an accountant, he was talking about it, and he had something pretty cool to say. I meant to tag him, but he said, and this is from Will, something I missed, the organization is a consortium, so the other big dogs can funnel it all into one organization instead of spending the funds to do them all separately. So again, it's a big pot, and it's something that Will pointed out, and he also pointed out on Twitter. Again, here we are going to the Twitters, but today it's necessary, I think. Where is it? So do some math here. Again, this is from @Will_NSS. Do some math here. This Hunt AAC could give all 450 athletes at the U of A $125,000 a year. So he has the amount then, because I haven't heard the amount. That would only equal to 0.75% of their yearly revenue. Yep, that's $1 billion. What do they make? Like $8 billion revenue. And that's just one of our big 6 donors. If Stevens, Waltons, Tyson all step in too, it could be astronomical for the student athletes. So, and then for people, and we have someone who I don't know if he's just a younger millennial or if he's a grown up posing as a younger millennial to kind of let out some of the just most ridiculous takes I've ever seen in our Discord. But some people just clearly do not grasp this at all, and then they're being kind of, I don't want to say like spitting in the eye of it, but like they're not at least trying to appreciate what this could potentially be. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Now younger people are growing up with this. For us who've been following college athletics for decades, we're trying to wrap our minds around this. And then as we kind of unfold it piece by piece, layer by layer, you start to understand, oh shit, this could be huge. But it's not something all at once that you get and understand and see the how it all plays out in an instant. Like, we don't see that. We have to let it play out. Will this mean eventually you get big-time 4 and 5 stars? Now we're talking about, instead of barely making top 25, top 20 every year, now all of a sudden is Arkansas, are they in the conversation now as a top 10 recruiting powerhouse, as a team that maybe could go further than that? Or do other states, the blue blood schools, the other rich schools, do they also kind of follow in line? We'll have to see this. We'll have to see this through. We'll have to wait and see how this all unfolds. I do think they hyped it a little much, but at the same time, I get why they hyped it the way they did. Would I have gone about it differently? Yeah, I probably wouldn't have thrown out like, oh, ESPN, like making it sound like ESPN up in the Northeast is going to be talking about this. Again, he didn't say that. Teeter didn't say that, but he also didn't say like, hey, look, Ty Richardson from ESPN is going to be talking about it. I definitely wouldn't have oversold it, but I don't think this is a case where they oversold and underdelivered though, right? Like the Chad Morris effect. I don't think that's what this was. I think to the audience it may be that way, but I think really, again, when you zoom out and you see the whole planet for what it is, it's big. Like, this could be really, really big. I think the potential is there. Let me read some of the comments. If this helps us to win a national championship, yeah. See, and again, we don't. I would argue if you start seeing it pay off, and you could see it pay off sooner than later. I don't know, but if this starts to. If you're now in the conversation more often and you see those targets light up instead of 3 stars. Now, by the way, Chad Morris, Houston Nutt, Bobby Petrino, they've all thrown offers out at 5 stars. Okay, let's not overreact because they throw an offer out to 5 stars. Sometimes they accept the offer, sometimes they reject it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll accept it as an offer, and sometimes a 5-star prospect will just say, I'm not interested, and then the U of A will back off the offer and withdraw the offer. That's why sometimes you see 5 stars with like 2 offers. Darren McFadden out of high school, I think, had 4 offers on the table. That was it. And he was a consensus, highly rated 4 or low 5-star, if I remember. Because sometimes they'll entertain those offers and then sometimes they just immediately reject them and then those schools withdraw their offers. But, yeah, just pay attention over the course of the next several months, the coming, the rest of the year, how many highly rated players start cutting Arkansas into their top 8, to their top 6, to their top 5, to their top 3. Start paying attention to that. And that's when I think you'll have a better idea of kind of where this might be a big deal. All this just means one step closer to EA Sports College Football 23. Hey, I think, you won't see it until next year. You won't see and it's not called NCAA anymore, I don't believe. It's just called EA College Football. That won't be out until the summer of 23. I think that's what they're going for. And that would be the 10-year anniversary of their last game. Basically, now we can SMU shit without death penalty. Yes, yeah, and let's not act like that hasn't been going on all along, right, Haas? We know it has. Schools, A&M was pretty open about it. Texas was paying their players through some form of a deal for like what, $50,000 a piece or something, and like Will said, that ain't shit. That isn't anything. Wait until, and this is just one business in this pot, and they're leading the way. Now JB Hunt's getting all this attention, right? They're a transportation business, but, they're getting all this positive media influence from the state. And who knows, maybe ESPN does pick it up. Maybe the SEC Network talks about it like, whoa, we're about to see the state of Arkansas flex. We're not a bunch of bumpkins down here. We're not all poverty-stricken riding our horse buggies, and our internet isn't just powered by a string with a styrofoam cup on each end. We're doing okay, especially in the NWA. And we've got these businesses, let's be real, who've provided jobs in the area. Not that the entire state is doing great. You get down to the Delta or South Arkansas. I get it. Like, not the whole state, but let's just say the NWA, Little Rock, someone mentioned the Stevens, about to flex. Now, again, I don't think Arkansas is going to be the only state to do this. Obviously, they're not. There's going to be other schools that follow. But you can at least argue. This is for the people, too, who've been complaining all along that companies aren't doing enough for the NIL. Here you go. For everyone who's trying to spend other people's money, who've been bitching and moaning about what's going on up there in the NWA, they're not doing their part. Well, here you go. And still people aren't happy. So, again, I get the reaction to Teeter and to the gentleman who he's doing business with, the realtor. I get the reaction of what the hell, that was overhyped. But I also understand what they're talking about a little bit. Again, I'm still trying to figure it all out as well. They just want to win now. They make money. Mm-hmm. What's up, Ty? How are you? What's up, Hoyt? How you doing, man? Basically, it's becoming the SMU of football. So here's the thing, too. The NCAA will close this. Not what we're doing here in the state, but I think within the next year or two, you're going to start to see tighter rules and restrictions on the NIL. I think eventually you're going to see these schools, especially with the NCAA now telling all these conferences to just deal with it on your own tables, right? Your own individual tables, your conferences, the SEC, the ACC, the PAC, the Big Ten, the Big 12. They're just telling them, like, you take care of your own. Like, you just do whatever. I do think we're going to see changes. We don't know how good or bad that is. We don't know what that means. I do think there needs to be some kind of we have to have something in place where this stuff just doesn't get – I mean, you're getting these 16, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. Who's representing them, right? This could – I mean, it's going to open up just Pandora's box. It already has. They did that last year. And it's only more crazy stuff just coming out of Pandora's box. Do what you can that's legal. Because right now it's just like, again, it's wild, wild west. Anything goes, right? Do it while you can. While everyone else is doing it, you do it. Get out in front. Flex that muscle. Flex that financial, flex it. Do your thing. As long as you're within whatever the hell the rules are, whatever those are, whether it's state perimeters or NCAA, yeah, absolutely. This will be the catalyst to getting other large companies exactly to join the NIL in one form or another, I believe. And whether you like it or not, this is the new college football. Yeah, you're exactly right, Sean. You hit the nail on the head. How does this affect current roster? Well, we don't know. And the deficiencies the roster's currently has now. Yeah, again, we just don't know. R.D. Miller, we don't know. We'll just have to see. Time will tell. I mean, yeah, you would imagine for the better. You would imagine. I mean, what player is not going to entertain the idea of making that kind of money at the University of Arkansas, a program that, by the way, just went 9-4. That's right. We're not all shit kickers. I was around those cow pies all the time. Says Eric Fountain. John says, I think they'll put a limit on what the NIL can come forth. You can't use it in recruiting, but once they're on campus, they can get a deal. That's what I'm figuring comes from this, probably. I could see that. Yeah, and we know that, I mean, how they influence people in the portal, right, with the NIL stuff. There needs to be some policing with that. Maybe Arkansas has been a benefactor of that, but right now it's like everything's on the table. The portal has, I would argue, the portal and the NIL they're cutting into these leads that schools like Ohio State and Alabama. Not that this means they're not going to get even more powerful, right? Not that this means that Alabama and these other big schools aren't going to benefit even more. We're still like in the infancy of all of this, right? And that's why I always say I want to wait like 5 years, look back, and make the determination as to whether or not the NIL and the portal, as the rules currently stand, how much they benefited the rest of college football. Right now, as of right now, I would say plenty of schools benefited so far. Now, people want to throw Cincinnati in that argument. Again, Cincinnati benefited because they had the COVID year players. They had super seniors out the wazoo. And you can make the same case for Arkansas. You really can. Had a lot of seniors and a lot of super seniors. But I think that's just going to lead the way for. I think they've done it well. They laid a foundation on top of the foundation for them to build off of, and I think they're going to try and carry that momentum into the offseason. I think they do that. Is it okay to wish that this NIL stuff never happened? I was just in the crowd that these kids got compensated enough. If you are enough, you can get paid professionally. Well, you have to understand they can't go professional until after their third year in college. They can't do anything. The rules before were you got a stipend, you got housing, they're covered by, like, they have their own, like if you get hurt, you're going through the school, right? You were fed. Like, that's all they got. And some people argued then, well, that's all they need, right? And the monthly stipend, by the way, wasn't shit. Like, let's be real. I mean, yeah, it was more than nothing. Yeah, I get that, but I'm talking about compared to what they get now. No, I mean, I get it. You're okay to wish whatever you want. I would argue that, do they need representation on their behalf? Yeah. They need someone helping, guiding them through this. But, again, we talked about it. You opened Pandora's box with all of this when you decided to make NIL. When you said NIL is good, here you go make money, go profit off your NIL, which I'm for. Look, I am. I've not been quiet about that at all. I'm for it. We live in a market economy. Why are we telling people you cannot benefit off your NIL? Why are we doing that? That's not okay in any other business. Why are we saying that in a multi-billion-dollar business that is college football, why are we telling kids they can't even go to a local, I don't know, whatever, barbershop and represent that barbershop and be sponsored by them? Or why are we saying that we can't do that? I don't get that. Like, what are we doing here? I'm all for the NIL. I do think there has to be, we've got to figure out these rules because it's the Wild West and we've got minors involved who have no idea what they're doing, right? Only their parents. Maybe some coaches. Maybe they have someone in their family that can help them out with it. But I don't know that they have, other than the school, once you get on campus. You do have people within the school, but are they there to serve that player's best interest or the school's best interest, right? Yeah, the NCAA will come down just in time to figure it all out because we just got to deal with it. So are the players required to do community service? Yes, they have to do something. Yes, they can't just receive the money and do nothing. They have to do something. This stream is the highlight of my work day. Great work, Ty. I appreciate that, man. Excited to see who we hire. Yeah, we haven't even. Oh my God, we've not even talked about the DB hire. Holy crap! All this buried the hire. We'll get to that in a second. I haven't given my Ole Miss prediction yet. No, I see both sides. Also, the downfall of college football as we know it. As you know it, yeah. Like of that era of football, of college football, where where you took a lot of pride in where you played. I think that's kind of like now the dollar's been introduced and the opportunity now to play instantly anywhere if you want to transfer, as long as you transfer within the given amount of time. Those things have changed college football. As you know it, yeah. Yeah, but you know what? College football changed as my dad knew it. There's always been these periods of time where football's gone through immense changes. This is one of them. It started in the TV network era, right? Back in the 70s and 80s when college football really blew up. Things changed. College programs were now, the deals were insane. I feel like that's what we're in now. We're in that when college football was blowing up on television, again, you had these network deals throughout the 80s and 90s, and people were panicking and freaking out. Oh, no, it's the end of college football. Attendances are going to be 90% less. No one's going to go to the games. Well, they did. They still do. Maybe not as many as you would like, and I agree with that, but people still go to games. I think we overreact, and immediately it's innate. It's what makes us human. We automatically go to the negative, pessimistic whatever in your brain because I think we're wired that way. It's hard to look at things positively, especially new things. In the NIL and the portal, look, not that they don't deserve criticism. I've criticized them the whole time. Said, here's the pros, here's the cons. Here's the cons that really concern me. But yeah, college football has changed. It already has. It's changed within the last 2 years, as you know it. And COVID hurried a lot of that along. This is big, but quote-unquote casual fans will only realize that that bigger and better recruits are coming here and likely will put the credit in the wrong place. You're not wrong about that, Mike. I think that's a really good point. That's why I said, as this goes on, take a look at your list of prospects. Take a look at where Arkansas falls in line. I'm talking about these big-time 4- and 5-star athletes. Now, if a couple of years pass and nothing's changed, then we'll be here to discuss it, and we'll say, well, what the hell was all that for anyways, right? Maybe it's already happening. Maybe the NIL and the portal has already – Arkansas's benefited from this. We know the portal's benefited basketball. I would argue football. Look what Felipe Franks did for KJ Jefferson. Didn't affect the game like we thought he would. He affected the game differently in that everything he knew, he was a leader to KJ, and look how that benefited him and the future of Razorback football. I would argue Felipe Franks might be the biggest portal addition you've ever had. Well, I don't know, Justin Smith and those guys. That Elite Eight run was insane. But the future of this program wouldn't be where it's at if not for Felipe Franks, even though I thought he was kind of a square peg in a round hole in the offense given his injury and his surgery at the time. Look, I'm too old, but come on. Change is needed. Remind us of college football, right? How they were paying players in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Yeah, the only difference is now it's not hidden, right? Dude, people in Little Rock ride the bus. What's wrong with that? Who said that? What are you talking about? There's this weird notion that Little Rock is like completely poverty stricken. I've never understood that. I have family down there, and I'll tell you, it's not all. There's maybe when I say Little Rock, really what I mean is like Central Arkansas, but even like around like Benton and Bryant, there's a little bit of money in Little Rock. The only being that likes change is a baby with a dirty diaper. Okay. Franks was an awesome quarterback, super underappreciated. He was a good quarterback. I just thought he was a square peg in a round hole in this offense. People tripping on transfers in NIL like transfers haven't been happening and people haven't been getting paid. Yeah, that's the other thing. I think some people are just new to this whole idea of what it is. Conway is wealthy. I don't. You'd know more about that than I would. I have no idea what's in Conway. When I think like real like places that struggle, I think of like South Arkansas, Delta, parts of Fort Smith, the River Valley. A comment was made about players having to ride the bus. Oh. There should be a cap for how much you can receive in a year. Shouldn't be giving $1 million deal to a 17-year-old, and definitely shouldn't be used to recruit guys. Yeah, and that's where I think some rules and regulation from whatever college football panel, whatever the conference or the NCAA, whoever we need to cap this. We need to have an understanding of what can be said on the recruiting trail. Listen, I can remember a time when the notion was you couldn't talk negatively about another school on the recruiting trail. As I understand it, that shit happens all the damn time. But I guess there's a rule, and you're supposed to self-report. Now, I don't know if that changed. That was like 10, 12 years ago when I remember reading that. And then it got confirmed by a media member, but I never followed up on it. But there are plenty of rules that still get broken. Just because they're rules doesn't mean anything, right? South Little Rock is the only bad part of Little Rock. Joe with the $5 Super Chat. By the way, Super Chat is up, and I do appreciate, again, Patreon supporters and anyone who wants to go through Super Chat. I'm going to watch the Hogs play. Oh, cool, Joe. You're going to get to watch them play West Virginia. What's the best place to eat in Fayetteville, in your opinion? Boy, that's a tough one because I'm a nachos. Like when you're talking about going to the game and before the game, like I'm not going to eat it at like a fancy steak restaurant, or I'm thinking like flying burrito, a whole freaking pound of steak nachos, which I need to cut off, and I have, and I've only had once this. No, I haven't had any. No, I have had flying burrito the first week of the new year. We had some. I think we had nachos. Maybe not. I can't remember. We've been doing a lot of those. What are those meals called? Every plate, where they send you the meals. All you got to do is cook them. They have everything. We've been doing that for a while, but trying to save some money. Believe it or not, I think that's actually working out pretty good for us instead of going to Walmart and doing all the buying and all that. Because, you spend more money when you go to the store. I would say flying burrito, man. Get your whole mess of steak nachos. Whole hog inside Fiesta Square. That's another good barbecue joint. Is Foghorn still open? This shows you how much I go to Fayetteville. If I go to Fayetteville, it's to go to the Walmart on Joyce on Mall Avenue, right next to the NWA Mall. I don't know, man. There's a lot of places. Penguin Ed's. And if you haven't had Slim's Chicken, even though they're basically now they're becoming a big corporation, Slim's is still pretty good. All that sauce made in-house. $20 Super Chat. I hate to burst bubbles, not you, Ty. But Walmart is a global corporation. They're not going to drop millions to NIL Arkansas players. They're global. They have enough money to resurrect Elvis, to sell Olroy. Good move, though. This is Mr. T-Dub. Ty should have players on the show. I would love to bring on a player. I really would. Dude, flying burrito. Those steak nachos. Oh, my God. Mwah. The best nachos I've ever had. I'm a nacho connoisseur. That shouldn't shock anyone, right? We are one of the poorest states in the nation, but if you have ever been to South Georgia, yeah, we are. Arkansas is one of the most poverty-stricken states. That is true. Think the documentary Banging in Little Rock for Poverty Stereotype. Yeah, I don't think all of Little Rock is, and when people have a certain agenda, they're going to push narratives, and you just got to be careful of that. But I do think outside of Little Rock, again, Benton and Bryant, there's parts of Little Rock that are just fine, right? I mean, there's money there. NWA, there's money everywhere. Seems like every town is known for a really big business or a booming business that's gone, again, Slim's is a real good example. Slim's started in Fayetteville. Now they're global. Flying Burrito, they've got, I don't know how many locations now. For a while, I think they had like 3 or 4, but it's really good. Here I am. Like, you'd think they're a sponsor, and they're not. Got to try that next time. You do, Eagle. You do. I just hope they don't overlook players from the state of Arkansas just to bring in 5-star, because they only for money, not the state. I've seen this criticism. I saw this when we talked about NIL for the first time. That was the fear. That, well, now in-state kids are going to get looked over. There's always going to be opportunities if a player's good enough to go to school somewhere. Our pup is whining. She's whining outside my door. She's a boxer. I'd love to let her in here, but she would destroy everything in here. She's so hyper. Now she's crying at the door. Her name is Princess Leia Organa Skywalker Hudson, by the way. But here's the thing. There's always going to be opportunities. And I do hope they continue to recruit the top 10 players in the state. And I think that will always be the case. I think you're going to always want to go after them. But does this mean they're going to overlook Some of the kids who maybe don't have the fourth star next to their name, and instead they're in on some big-time 4 or 5-star dual-threat quarterback down in Texas like we've already seen. Like, that's nothing new. That's always happened. Kids get overlooked here all the time. But UCA growing, right? I mean, that university, that campus has grown. You've got Arkansas State. If you're good enough, you're going to get the opportunity to further your education. And I hope that's always within their reach, right? And if you're good enough, it's going to happen. But over time, as we look back, assuming this NIL deal works the way we think it probably will, yeah, you're going to have less Arkansans on the roster. And I'm going to ask you, you can't have both. Do you want to be competitive? Do you want to be top 3 in the West every year? Do you want to possibly compete for the SEC West or to represent the SEC West in the SEC Championship? If that's the case, you're going to have to overlook some of these kids, and I hate to say that. I will do anything in my power. I get kids every once in a while, they'll send me their stats in my DMs. I'm going to try and do a better job when they do that to get them some publicity. I don't have a real strong Twitter game. I'll be honest, I feel like I would rather push the core of my content, which is here. I want to give you guys the best. Maybe I don't, maybe I should work on actually trying to grow my social media audience. I just don't. But anything I can do, if I can point them in the right direction. I got a friend of mine whose son plays at Greenland. They want me to come watch them play. I need to do that. I've got some family members that I need to do a better job of that. But listen, if you want to win at a really high level, I'm sorry, Arkansas just does not produce the kind of talent you think that it does. People say all the time, well, that's the problem. They overlook all these players. And I think that has been the case before. It absolutely has. But I'm going to ask you, is Alabama overlooking these players? Is Auburn, Auburn's not the greatest example. Florida in their best years, they're not coming to Arkansas to recruit the number 15 player in the state, a guy who has an offer from, I don't know, an agricultural school. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but a non-group or not even a group of 5 school located somewhere in South Oklahoma. Kids do get overlooked, and I feel for them. That sucks. But there's only so many scholarships. There's only so many schools. I wish them the best, but if you want to compete, you can't have both. You can't, go after every Thomas, every John, just because they're from the state of Arkansas. You just can't do it and win at a high level. Arkansas just doesn't produce those kind of players. They just don't. If you argue with that, then I think you haven't – I don't know. I don't think you've paid a whole lot of attention to recruiting. Again, you have passed on players that have gone on and done great things. Absolutely. Because sometimes you run out of room and sometimes you get kids that they don't blossom until late their senior year in high school, right? Follow the Scottie Pippen story. That was crazy. He grew however many inches while he was down at UCA. People are like, why didn't Arkansas recruit him? Well, because he didn't grow until he got to college. Sometimes just those things happen. You're going to overlook players, right? Happens every year. Happens all the time. In Arkansas, that's not exclusive to Arkansas. It's not just something that happens here only. Oh, we have you can't remove here. We'll just hide that user. We got a spammer. I got him. He's blocked. Addison, I got it. What up, Ty? Been a while since I've been on here. Professor Ty with the glasses. Yeah, I was reading stuff. I was reading some NIL stuff. I got the glasses on. You know it's serious when I got the glasses on. I'm on a diet. Quit talking about nachos. I'm sorry, Dragon. They're so good, though. Oh, my God. They're so good. We've got to get Walmart Tyson out of our vocabulary. It's got to be an individual like Jane Walton. Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. I'm sorry Lane Kiffin stole one of your coaches. Addison, I'm not so sure that was the case. I don't think that happened the way you thought that it did. So I really think right now let's try to pivot over to this to the Arkansas, the new defensive back, the new DB coach. Arkansas makes a hire. Well, they lose Sam Carter, He's going to go to Ole Miss. There's some conflicting reports that some players just absolutely did not like Sam Carter. Okay, that's the narrative. I'm not saying that that's 100% accurate, but there seems to be some level of truth to that. So Sam Carter's out, and Arkansas immediately have their replacement. Marshall's Dominic Bowman. He's going to be your new guy there. Again, I know some people want to look at this like you want to look at this if you're an Ole Miss fan like, haha, we stole from you. I've kind of heard the opposite. I've kind of heard that they left. I think it was a very similar situation to what happened with Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator here, who they didn't fire, but they didn't give an extension to his contract, and the writing was just kind of on the wall. I think that's how this went down with Sam Carter. Good corner, good DB coach, I think. I think you got a quality DB coach. But I don't think this went down the way you think that it went down. Lane Kiffin will set him straight. Maybe. I mean, it's clear that Sam Pittman, I think, was okay with his, having to replace him because they already got their guy. I mean, within what, 24 hours or so, they had their guy. I think it was less than that, actually. But yeah, Matt Zenitz was the first to release this, I believe. Well, no, they're saying this was yesterday, so that would have been about a 24-hour time period, I believe. It's all a blur, I'm telling you. Arkansas set to hire Marshall's Dominic Bowman as cornerbacks coach. Sources tell on 3 Sports, first reported by Zach Barnett. Before Marshall, Bowman was a co-defensive coordinator and defensive backs coach at UT Martin and Austin Peay. I don't know a ton about him, I'll be honest. This NIL stuff completely took over my entire – everything I was doing for notes just basically went out the window. But I don't know a ton about him. From what I understand, he was already on the phone with players. Like the minute he signed the dotted line to become the next DB coach, he was already talking with a prospect. Someone will have to help me out and chat with who that was. But he was already – that poor dog. She is in there. I would love to bring her in here because she is so cute. She's a boxer. She's cute, but she is wild. I don't know. I guess boxers are hyper. I don't know. We had a Jack Russell. Well, we have a Jack Russell who sadly we may have to be putting down on Thursday. That's going to be a hard day. We've had him for since 2009. Bandit. And he has a lump on his snout that's just, I mean, his quality of life is just, he's bleeding everywhere. It's sad. Come on, Austin. If he gets out of line, Lane Kiffin will give him back to Nick Saban. Maybe. I don't know. I think he'll work out good for Ole Miss. I think that's a good hire for them. I think Arkansas kind of I just don't think this went down the way Ole Miss people are making it out to be on Twitter. I really think this was oh, no, you're leaving. Come back. Oh, no, come. Oh, darn, he's gone. Okay, anyways, we got our new guy. I kind of think that's how that went down. Dallas Young, that's who he's on the phone with. Okay, yeah, and it was screenshotted onto Twitter. I bred boxers, but some are hyper. But as a pup, they grow out of it. I hope so. I really wish she was calm and a little bit smaller, and I could show. She's adorable. I think I put a picture on our Discord last night. Nobody reacted to it, though. No one was impressed by our puppy. That's really sad. Because I think she's deserving of it. Hogs will beat Mississippi tonight, says Mike and them. He was on the phone with Dallas Young. Right. Thank God he didn't go to LSU. Then you would hear all the crap left and right. Dominic Bowman was the number 13 defensive coach last year. Okay. Do you have a link, Chris, you could share with me in our Discord? I'd love to share that with people. Many players didn't like Carter. Yeah, I mean, again, there's you had several players enter the portal. You had Catalan go on Instagram Live and say that it wasn't because of Carter But I mean, there's just so many conflicting reports. I don't think that this is exactly. I don't think it went down the way Ole Miss people think it went down. Like, oh, he left you for, to go to a better job. No, I think he was kind of, again, the door was open for him to leave. What up, Ty? Any players transfer out got on late? No, not as far as I know. Catalan said that Carter was the funniest coach and one of his favorites. Yeah. Yeah, and I think Slush said the same thing. Slush said the exact same thing. So I don't know if it was him being, whatever with the players, or if it was a recruiting reason, which is what seems to be the catalyst for why a lot of these guys lose their jobs here. Was it because they didn't want to play hard, or they were crybabies? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine at this point. Do you see both Slusher and Brinney starting next year? Brinney, I imagine, is going to end up lining up at the nickel spot. Slusher's been talked about as maybe a corner. He did work out with the corners during fall camp, or was it spring camp, fall camp? He worked with the corners. They moved him around a lot. I'm not really sure what that looks like, but I think Brinney could end up being your nickel. He's going to replace Fouché. There's been some misconceptions about Sanders, the linebacker. He may actually end up being someone who's your stand-up blitzer like Trey Williams was in this defense. I don't know that maybe he doesn't rotate with either of the linebackers and he ends up just being your rush end. I mean, you're not talking about a small guy here, 6'5", 245, pretty quick. He could play that role for Arkansas this year, basically what Trey Williams was for Arkansas. People at JB Hunt do believe Walmart and Tyson will follow suit, and that is where the big news gets big. Yeah, I think Dustin is right. That could happen. I think people are, again, was it maybe hyped in the wrong way? Probably. Could have been handled a little bit differently? Sure. But it's big news nonetheless. I missed the picture. Yeah. I posted it, and we got a couple of reactions. She's adorable. Let me flip the camera around. I'll just flip it around for you guys to see. She's adorable. Look at this. Look at her. So cute. Princess Leia Organa Skywalker Hudson. She's adorbs. And she hears me talking about her now, and she's crying. Oh, I'm sorry. Gotta love the Discord. Ty, favorite thing to check out when I'm not sleeping. That's good. I watched some Sanders highlights on YouTube. He's something else. He's going to be pretty special, I think, for the Razorbacks. Yeah, I do think Slusher. I think you could potentially see Slusher, Catalan, and Brinney on the field at the same time, just obviously playing different spots in the secondary. Funny time, we wanted to fire Fountain. Now look at him bringing in all these 5-star punters and kickers. Ty, can we talk Hogs baseball on your next live? I'm really curious about how everyone feels about this season. Super excited. Yeah, we're going to – I mean, again, we're what, 20 – how many days out from baseball? Yeah, Kenneth, we'll get there. Yeah, Crazy Hog brings up how we wanted to fire Fountain. So his first, 15 games were awful. Let's just be real. They were terrible. Kicking the ball out of bounds on kickoff, the constant penalties, the gaffes that happened on. It seemed like every time special teams was on the field, they had a problem, and they still did actually in the second half of the season, just not as often, not as frequent. Cam Little was awesome. Your punt return game got better. Perotti was actually returning punts. He looked pretty good, right? He did a pretty damn good job as the year went on. There were still gaffes. But it was because of the dramatic turnaround where it's like, okay, the ship is now sailing in the right direction. It's all hands on deck on special teams. Their punt coverage was never bad, by the way. I thought the punt coverage was actually one of the highlights of his time here. But no, I think it was absolutely warranted. I think the criticisms that I was giving him were warranted. I think a lot of people agreed at the time. And again, we haven't really talked about him in a while, but I mean, he's doing a great job. There's no doubt in recruiting. Cam Little was fantastic. Special teams got better. You had the fake field goal, which I do believe he deserves credit for. There's been a huge turnaround. I want to see that build into next year, right? I don't want to see them take a huge step backwards on special teams. I want to see that. I want to see them grow, build off what they did this year. That's what I want to see for sure. But I'll admit when I'm wrong. He absolutely turned it around when I didn't think he could. So credit to him. I always believed Uncle Scotty would right the ship. Well, at the time, not many people did. And you're in the minority, Eric. You knew something we didn't because, man, it was bad. It was real bad. And I'm sitting here thinking, why the hell are we paying him this much money? If I ever said, I don't ever recall saying directly, you need to fire him now, but I do remember being very, very critical. Found it, Ty. Check DMs and Discord. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll do that really quick. We're about to shut this thing off. Oh, you did not just share Big Game Boomer. Ah, come on. Big Game Boomer is terrible. I do appreciate you, Chris. Thank you for sharing that. But Big Game Boomer is awful. This guy just pulls these ratings out of his ass. And when he does good, we praise him. We're like, oh, look, yeah. But then when he doesn't bring us in there, well, he's just not good, man. Does Barry Odom belong at 20th? I don't know, maybe lower, maybe higher. I would probably argue lower, but no, I'm not a fan of Big Game Boomer at all. Big Game Boomer, that's all I hear. But I do appreciate you sharing that, though. I'm just making a joke because of our last name. No, I got you, Eric. Shaking my head. Hiring some no-name coaches. Kind of weird. Hiring thin the day after Sam leaves. What? How about Mizzou keeping up with Auburn last night? Some basketball. Basketball last night was absolutely crazy. I mean, that was, and I didn't get a chance to watch it all. I watched a little bit here and there. Not much. Let's focus on this Ole Miss Arkansas game, then we'll close her down. Arkansas, the line actually moved. Arkansas at one point, I believe, was favored at like 59%. It's dropped down to 54%. Now, it's not a huge change. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's what it was. Something like that. The line has changed a little bit. So 14-5 Arkansas on the road against Ole Miss. I do kind of wonder a little bit, is this one of those matchup games people talk about? Could be a tough matchup for Arkansas despite how much better they're playing. Ole Miss, you know, their leading rebounder, Brooks, he's getting about 8 rebounds a game. Crowley's their assist guy, about 2.5, 3 assists a game. Compare that to Devo, who's at almost 4 assists a game. Kind of surprised he's ahead of Jalen Williams. I kind of thought Williams was at like 4 assists a game. Morrell's their leading scorer, 10 points a game. Note clearly well above that. Like if you look at it stat line by stat line, Arkansas's better when you compare individual stats. But could be a little bit of a matchup issue. Ole Miss, Arkansas tonight. It's an early game. Thank you, Lord. 6 p.m. tip-off time. I love the 6 or 6:30 or 6 or 7's not bad. I can do 7. But I love these 6 p.m. tip-offs. I am going to have to rush and make dinner tonight, though. That's going to be rushed. I do like Arkansas in this one. I do think, are they good enough to go in there and just completely embarrass them in front of their own fans? Yes. Do I think that happens? I'm not so sure. We know that this game can get a little it can get a little wild. The unexpected can absolutely happen. Ole Miss could do the opposite, right? Ole Miss could run you off the court. I feel like Arkansas wins. I said, Monday I said 8 or 9, 10 points, something like that. I'm still there. I still think they're in that area. I would take Arkansas by 8, maybe 6. I feel like it's going to be a pretty close game. Ole Miss right now, again, 10-9, 2-5 in conference. They did beat Memphis 67-63, but Memphis has kind of turned out not great. That's not the win I think they thought it was at the time, for sure. They're right now, they've lost 1, 2, 3, 4 of their last 5. They beat Florida. Been trying to tell y'all, Florida, another confusing team. They're 12-7 right now, but they beat Florida at home 70-54. And that was Monday night, I believe. Am I right on that? Was that Monday night? I think it was. It was a makeup game, I think. But Florida, who's right now 3-4 in conference, again they're 12-7 overall. Ole Miss 2-5 in conference, 10-9 overall. Look, it's they haven't been flawless at home, but I think it's going to be a pretty. I think the environment might be a little bit tougher than we think. I'm not saying they're going to sell it out and that there's going to be a ton of people there, but I think they're going to get loud, and I think they know that, hey, here's an opportunity to upset a team that's on the rise. And then after this, they got to deal with Kansas State in the SEC Big 12 matchup. That next game for Arkansas, which who they're going to take on is West Virginia. Again, that is a pivot game. I hope Arkansas, and I don't think Musselman is. I don't know that he's ever really done that, but I hope they're not just gearing up for this West Virginia game and kind of overlooking Ole Miss. But that West Virginia game is a pivot game. They're 13-5, similar record, except they're 1-3 on the road. Arkansas is right now much better at home. So but I think that's your pivot game, right? Then after that, you go to Georgia and you host Mississippi State. Then you get prepared for number 1 Auburn. Auburn ran into some trouble last night against Mizzou. They won by a point. I think at halftime, Mizzou was leading by a point, and then Auburn ended up winning by a point, 55-54. Auburn is gettable. I'm telling you, I think at home, I think they're gettable. They're right now 19-1, but they are undefeated in conference play. Kentucky 16-4 and A&M 15-4. I do think Arkansas. I don't know the who was it? Some Arkansas media member put Arkansas as the 3rd best team in the SEC. There might be some truth to that. I think they're floating around the top 5. I think they're up there. I think they're getting in there. And I think tonight, I feel like, look, I told you guys, let's take a look at 8 games. Well, this is game number 8 tonight. So I will, and I kind of already got my mind made up, but I'll give you where I'm at with Arkansas making the tournament and how I feel that goes down for the future of Razorback basketball for the rest of the year. So we'll talk about that tonight. Again, this Ole Miss game, yeah, some of it does hang on what they do at Ole Miss tonight, because I think Ole Miss is scrappy. Again, I think Ole Miss is a pretty scrappy team. They may not be great. They may not have a ton of talent. I think they have some injuries. But this game it's also important. I think they're all important. You guys know how I feel about that. I think all these games are important. But tonight is a game. It's that 8th game. I said let's wait until we get to that 8th game, and here it is tonight. So we'll discuss it. I'll tell you where I think Arkansas goes if I think they're going tournament. I say I've got my mind made up. I feel like I'm probably closer. Maybe I should say I'm closer to having my mind made up, and tonight's going to have a pretty big impact on that. So, all right. LSU baseball's not catching up to Arky, not anymore. Any basketball team that scores 54 points is an embarrassment in 2022. Look, you're always, anyone can have an off night. So I don't know. I mean, anybody's capable of having an off night, even Auburn. All right, so I'll see you guys tonight. I think it's gonna be a pretty fun game. We'll have the post game show and we'll get ready and we'll talk about what to expect. We'll react obviously to this Ole Miss game and all that. Shout out to Patreon supporters, again to Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company, all you guys here, and those of you who are watching after the live has already ended. I appreciate you. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out all the links. If you want to become a PTN Patreon member, it's a minimum of $4 a month. Also, feel free to check out our Discord. Let me give you a link. I need to do this more often. I'm trying to get better at it. But here's our link. There you go. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. Woo pig, go Hogs, and I'll see you guys tonight.